All right. Hey, fresties. That's the stool. I still haven't gotten a new stool. We're rocking the same stool since video number 1. So let's go ahead and talk about what books I read in July. The first book that I read in July was Boundary Lines by Nora Roberts. I have a copy of it, but it is on my bookshelf. This book is sort of like a Romeo and Juliet type of thing. Basically, these two families in Montana, they both run ranches right next to each other. They've been feuding for generations, and the daughter and the son are now, you know, sort of mingling. They come upon each other one day at the lake and it's all saucy and whatnot. But she, on principle, dislikes him because he is a Murdoch and she is a Baron. I think I got that correct. And eventually, during the course of this book, they have to work together because there is somebody who's messing with their cattle. I gave this one 4 stars on Goodreads. It took me a while to get into the book. Like, I kept picking it up and just reading a teensy little bit and then going away for days at a time and not coming back to it. But once I sat down and I just kind of started binge reading it, I really got into it. It's sort of a mix of like both types of Nora books. Like I kind of divide her books into 2 categories of the romantic thrillers that are super developed and intense in both character development and plot development. And then there are her older works, which are more just romance books, and they are a little less developed. Like, I feel like there's a lot of insta love and it's just a bit of a different vibe. Some people say that her older works are not as good as her newer works. I think I talked about this last video, but I like them both for different reasons. Like, if I just want a straight up romance book, then I know I can check out some Nora from the 80s and just sit down and get a straight up romance. This one was basically in between those 2 things because it was sort of thrilling and it sort of had a mystery and like a bit of a thriller element to it because the characters kind of were in danger, but the focus is definitely mostly on the romance. I am not somebody who typically reads enemies to lovers, but I enjoyed it. It's not that I dislike that trope, I just don't find myself picking it up a lot. But like I said in my Goodreads review, the balance between the romance plot and the external plot, it was really good. The only reason it's not a 5-star is just because I didn't feel like super attached to the characters. Even though I liked them both, I just wasn't like, you know, they weren't connected to my heart as much as some other characters. Lily from Montana Sky. Sorry, she's my favorite of all time. The next book that I read last month was Wild Thing by Anne Stewart, which I did have a copy of. I already donated it. I just got it last month in that haul that I did, and it's already out of my possession because I was not very fond of it. I gave this one 2 stars on Goodreads. Honestly, it's probably more like a 1.5 now that I've had some time to marinate on it. I really only 1-star books that I don't finish. That's just my sort of principle. If I finish it, then it was good enough to at least get 2 stars, but I don't know. This one, I really just finished it for the sake of finishing it because it was a really short book, so I was like, I can do this. But honestly, it kind of just felt like a waste of time. For one thing, if you checked out last month's video, then you know that the whole reason why I wanted to read this book is because of the Wild Thing premise, which is like wild man found, falls in love with civilized woman, etc, etc. That premise was a lie in this instance. You know, I don't want to go into too many spoilers just in case, but you're not getting what you think you're getting. The main thing that bothered me about it though was that it's a romance book, and yet the hero of the book was not even attracted to the heroine for like half of the story. He said she was too short, too blonde, too skinny, he said he liked exotic women and she was just not that. And I was like, so how is this gonna work? Like, I'm not saying that everything has to be insta-love, but it's nice for characters to at least be attracted to each other at first. And like, she was super attracted to him, but he was not feeling her at all. And then suddenly, out of the blue, he just starts to become attracted to her. And I'm like, I guess that's fine, but it just, I don't know. It certainly didn't make me feel like I wanted them to be together. I feel like I can see how some people might actually prefer that and they would like to see them. Dang, my glasses are dirty. What the heck? Honestly, I think it's just a matter of personal preference on that note. It's very much a personal thing for me. If I found out that somebody was not attracted to me at all to begin with, but then they suddenly started to become attracted to me, I would just be like, okay, but why not at first though? Like, what was the issue at first, huh? Plot is already pretty ridiculous. I felt like the author was like really, she wanted to lean into it, but she didn't lean into it as much as she could have. So instead of taking it seriously or just going full on like zany crazy with it, like let's just do the dang thing, it was somewhere awkward in the middle where it was like, I can't really take this seriously, but also it's not like I'm having a whole lot of fun either. So it just wasn't for me. It wasn't what I thought that I was gonna get. It wasn't what I signed up for. It does take place on an island though, and at the beginning there was a little drawing, like a map of the island. I liked that. Is this tie broken? I mean, I got it for like $1 at Goodwill, but I didn't know it was broken. Can you technically call a fabric garment broken? I guess. But I mean, you can't really like break a shirt. You like rip it or something. Anyways. The third and final book that I read last month was, this is a long title, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing by Marie Kondo. I have had trouble with organizing and decluttering and keeping too much stuff for basically as long as I can remember. I've definitely gotten a lot better at it like these past 4 years or so, I would say. You know, I really make an effort to not keep stuff that I'm not using or stuff that I'm only keeping for this weird sentimental value. Like obviously some sentimental stuff I keep, but other stuff I really just need to let go of. And then I get rid of it and I don't even remember that I ever had it. So it's like, why was I keeping it in the first place? I digress. I picked up this book because I wanted some more help with that task, just decluttering, getting rid of things I don't need, trying to make my room into a nicer space. I gave this one 3 stars, and the main reason why I didn't rate it higher than that is because I came into the book looking for advice, and I would say at least half of what I got was just like personal anecdotes and little stories about like how she helped clients and stuff like that, and like her childhood, and I was just like, this isn't exactly what I signed up for. Like obviously I get why it's in the book, it makes sense to be in the book, but it just wasn't really what I was looking for. The next book, the second one that comes after this of hers, seems a lot more advice focused and seems like it goes way deeper into the steps that she outlines in this book. So I will be checking that one out, but if there are those, you know, personal anecdotes again, I'm probably just going to skip right over them and not read them. I was guilty of doing a lot of skimming in this read through of this book, just because some of the stuff I was like, okay, I get it. I don't need to hear about cleaning out a cabinet at a client's house and, oh, she said she liked that shirt, but turns out she didn't actually really want it. Like, okay, just tell me the advice. But overall, I do think the tips that I got from the book are gonna be really helpful. And this book taught me how to fold my laundry. Well, actually, I had to look up a video about the method to teach me how, but I wouldn't have looked that up if I hadn't read the book. But now I know how to properly like fold stuff, and I actually enjoy doing it. Like it's kind of just really relaxing now. I'm not just like folding stuff into squares and tossing it in a drawer. I'm like, no, let me do this the right way. I guess technically I'm still folding it into squares, just smaller, more compact squares. My drawers have never looked better. That's all I'm trying to say. So those are the 3 books that I read last month. It felt like I read more than that, but upon checking Goodreads, it is confirmed that I did not. Oh, last month though, I did forget to mention that I read Sanctuary by Nora Roberts. That one is a solid 4-star for me, leaning towards 5 stars. Great book. Again, I post reviews on Goodreads, so if you ever want me to go more in depth into stuff, you can find it on there. Oh, and in last month's video, I also forgot to talk about how I reread a book called 𝘴𝘰𝘤𝘪𝘢 by Paul Fleischman. That is one of my all-time favorite books. I read it back in 6th grade. I have just always remembered it since then. I wasn't like looking for a booger, by the way. I thought I got lipstick on my finger. I've always remembered that book since then. Rereading it just made me like it even more than I remembered liking it. I love the writing style. I love the story. I would say go check it out. It's a short read, so, you know, it's totally worth the time that it takes. I don't have too many solid ideas about what I'm reading in August. I have been in the middle of reading Much Ado About Nothing. I almost called this A Midsummer Night's Dream. Whoopsie daisy. The main reason why I wanted to read this book is because I adore the movie by that guy who cheated on the actress, stupid man, Kenneth, whatever the heck his name is. I don't know. You know, I'm not very well versed in celebrity drama, so I might not even have that correct, but I'm pretty sure that he cheated on Emma Thompson. Why do we say cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater? Why are we letting them eat pumpkins? Have them eat like toenails or something. Cheater, cheater, toenail eater. Like, pumpkin doesn't rhyme with anything. Anyways, I'm in the middle of reading this. I'm about halfway through. I enjoy it. I do get the versions of Shakespeare that have the like basic English translation on the next page over, just because I don't always understand things. I try not to rely on it too much. I try to, you know, figure things out for myself, but sometimes I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you're saying, and it makes it easy to just be able to look over to the next page and figure it out. I also am going to be reading my favorite book as a kid, The Summer of the Sea Serpent by Mary Pope Osborne, I think is her name, but yeah, Mary Pope Osborne. This is a Magic Treehouse book. Yes, it's for 7-year-olds. I'm on a nostalgia kick, okay? I do what I want, whatever, I do what I want. This is gonna be a really quick read. I feel kind of guilty even considering it for my book challenge. My 2022 reading challenge is to read 20 books. I've currently read 15, so I do feel a little bit silly counting this as one, but I've counted other less book-like things in the past, like helpful writing tips and thesauruses and stuff like that, so I'm counting it. It's whatever. The Magic Treehouse books are like a huge part of my childhood and are actually reasons why 2 of my current characters in my current series are named Jack and Annie.
She didn't even film an outro. I guess I have to be the professional one. Goodbye, have a nice day, thanks for watching.